Unraveling the Intent. Samdi Nimochana. Chapter 4. Then the Blessed One spoke these words to Subhuti. Subhuti, do you know how many beings in the world display their knowledge under the influence of conceit? Do you know how many beings in the world display their knowledge without conceit? Subhuti answered, Blessed One, according to my knowledge, there are only a few in the world of beings who present their knowledge without conceit, but countless, innumerable, and inexpressible in number are those who do so under its influence. Blessed One, at one time I was staying in a hermitage set in a great forest. There were many monks living in the vicinity who had also established themselves there. At sunrise I saw them gather together. They showed their knowledge and revealed their understanding by taking various aspects of phenomena as referential objects. Some showed their knowledge by taking the 5 aggregates as referential objects: their phenomenal appearance, their arising, their disintegration, their cessation, and the acknowledgement of their cessation. In the same way, some showed their knowledge by taking the 12 sense domains as referential objects, some by taking dependent arising as a referential object. Some showed their knowledge by taking the 4 kinds of sustenance as referential objects: their phenomenal appearance, their arising, their disintegration, their cessation, and the acknowledgement of their cessation. Some showed their knowledge by taking the 4 noble truths as referential objects: their defining characteristic, the comprehension of suffering, the abandoning of the cause of suffering, the actualization of the cessation of suffering, and the practice of the path. Some showed their knowledge by taking the 18 constituents as referential objects: their phenomenal appearance, their varieties, their manifoldness, their cessation, and the actualization of their cessation. Some showed their knowledge by taking the 4 applications of mindfulness as referential objects: their phenomenal appearance, their adverse factors, their antidotes, their practice, their arising from having been non-arisen, their remaining after they arose, and their maintaining, resuming, or increasing. In the same way, some showed their knowledge by taking as referential objects the 4 correct self-restraints, as well as the 4 bases of supernatural powers, the 5 faculties, the 5 forces, and the 7 branches of awakening. Some showed their knowledge by taking as referential objects the 8 branches of the Noble Path, their phenomenal appearance, the antidotes to their adverse factors, their practice, their arising from having been non-arisen, their remaining after they arose, and their maintaining, resuming, or increasing. Then I thought to myself, these venerable monks displayed their knowledge by revealing their understanding by taking various aspects of phenomena as referential objects, but they have not perceived the ultimate, whose defining characteristic is of a single nature everywhere. These venerable persons have conceit, and without doubt display their knowledge under the influence of conceit. Blessed One, at an earlier time you spoke these words: the ultimate is subtle, profound, difficult to understand, extremely difficult to understand, and characterized as being of a single nature everywhere. How wonderful indeed are these very words of yours! Blessed One, even if those who practice your teaching, such as these beings who became monks, find it difficult to understand in this way the ultimate whose defining characteristic is of a single nature everywhere, what need is there to mention how difficult it is for those outsiders who do not follow your teaching? The Blessed One replied, So it is, Subhuti, so it is. I have completely and fully awakened to the ultimate, that, being characterized as being of a single nature everywhere, is subtle, extremely subtle, profound, extremely profound, difficult to understand, and extremely difficult to understand. Yet after I attained complete and perfect awakening, I communicated through words, gave explanations, established distinctions, expressed myself through conventions, and imparted teachings. One might ask why I did this. Subhuti, it is because I teach that the ultimate is the referential object conducive to purification within the aggregates, as well as within the sense domains, dependent arising, the sustenances, the truths, the constituents, the applications of mindfulness, the self-restraints, the bases of supernatural powers, the faculties, the forces, the branches of awakening, and, Subhuti, the Eightfold Path. This referential object conducive to purification within the aggregates is of a single nature everywhere, and its defining characteristic is not different from theirs. It is just the same from the sense domains up to the Eightfold Path. The referential object conducive to purification within these various referential objects is of a single nature everywhere, and its defining characteristic is not different from theirs. Subhuti, through this approach, you should thus know that what is characterized as being of a single nature everywhere is the ultimate. Moreover, Subhuti, once renunciants who practice yoga have realized in reference to a single aggregate the selflessness of phenomena, which is the ultimate reality, they do not look for this ultimate reality, this selflessness, individually within the other aggregates or in the sense domains, dependent arising, the sustenances, the truths, the constituents, the applications of mindfulness, the self-restraints, the bases of supernatural powers, the faculties, the forces, the branches of awakening, and the Eightfold Path. Instead, they rely upon the individual gnosis that is in accordance with true reality. Through this alone, they infallibly ascertain and realize the ultimate characterized as being of a single nature everywhere. Subhuti, through this approach, you should thus know that what is characterized as being of a single nature everywhere is the ultimate. Moreover, Subhuti, if ultimate reality itself, the selflessness of phenomena, had a defining characteristic distinct from the defining characteristics of phenomena, in the way the aggregates, the sense domains, dependent arising, the sustenances, the truths, the constituents, the applications of mindfulness, the self-restraints, the bases of supernatural powers, the faculties, the forces, the branches of awakening, and the Eightfold Path have defining characteristics distinct from one another, then, on account of this, ultimate reality itself, the selflessness of phenomena, would have causes and arise from causes. If it arose from causes, it would be conditioned. If it were the conditioned, it would not be the ultimate. If it were not the ultimate, one would need to look for some other ultimate. Subhuti, this ultimate, the selflessness of phenomena, does not arise from causes. It is not conditioned. Neither is it the case that it is not the ultimate. One must therefore look for an ultimate other than that ultimate. Thus, whether Tathagatas manifest or not, because it is the case that it permanently and immutably abides within phenomena, only this nature of phenomena, this constituent abiding in phenomena, is constant. Subhuti, for all these reasons, you should know through this approach that the ultimate is characterized as being of a single nature everywhere. Subhuti, it is like this. Although there are many varieties of forms with distinct defining characteristics within space, since space itself is free from phenomenal appearances, devoid of conceptions, and without change, its defining characteristic is of a single nature everywhere. Likewise, Subhuti, you should know that the ultimate is characterized as being of a single nature everywhere, within all phenomena whose defining characteristics are distinct from one another. Then, at that moment, the Blessed One spoke these verses. As proclaimed by the Buddhas, this ultimate is not distinct from phenomena, and its defining characteristic is everywhere of a single nature. Those who imagine it to be distinct from phenomena are conceited and deluded. This was the chapter of Subhuti, the 4th chapter.